It's bar none the greatest soccer rivalry in North America.
Fights, fouls, all the chirping, all the goals.
The intensity, the environment.
Sandwiches thrown under our bus as we're driving up the stadium, the finger gesture, all that sort of stuff.
It's bragging rights, it's rights between which is the best city.
Who are going to be your players that step up for those games?
I hate losing to Portland, and that's just the reality of things.
Just beat Seattle, and that's the only beat them.
I would say in the history of Seattle, it's kind of counterculture. The city has gone through enormous changes from when I grew up here, but we always felt like we had something to prove.
It's considered very laid back, very polite, but soccer can bring out the passion in you.
Portland obviously is not a big city. It almost feels like a town sometimes.
A community where everybody is connected.
There's a sense that because of the idea of keeping Portland weird, that maybe there's some counterculture element to it. But I also think that this is a town that's very passionate about its sports, and there's not a lot of professional sports here. So you have a lot of fans of the Timbers.
We have the Timbers Army, and I think everything in the country fails by comparison.
The fans, just as much as the players, hate losing to Portland.
We hate them, they hate us, and we like it that way.
It's a battle in the field, and there's a battle in the stands and in the stadiums.
We're at a state in the league where there's a lot of rivalries brewing, but the Timbers Sounders has one thing that nothing else has. It's history.
Oh, the Sounders playing it, making it, playing the game to win.
It started in the 70s.
The Timbers faced the Sounders here in Portland back in 1975 in the quarterfinals of the NASL playoffs.
30,000 plus here at Multnomah Stadium tonight to see the Sounders play the Portland Timbers.
Tony Betts scored on the header in extra time to send the Timbers on.
Gets it across in front, there's the shot!
It's not one of those rivalries you see with LAFC or LA Galaxy where this is a 2-year-old rivalry.
As I was a kid, we'd go to the games, we're like, yeah, we gotta beat Portland, we gotta be the best in the Northwest, and it was the same thing with Vancouver up north.
We're 3 different cities, 2 different countries that have similarities, but we definitely have a pretty deep rivalry.
The Cascadia Cup, which is owned by the fans and supporters, is the trophy we fight for when we play between Portland, Vancouver, and Seattle.
Sometimes people forget about Vancouver, but they're a proud franchise. They've had good teams throughout the years.
I'm gonna say that Vancouver is the king of Cascadia. If we're going by Cascadia Cups, Vancouver's definitely leading that.
There's other rivalries that have trophies throughout the league, I get it, but we bring the Cascadia Cup up here.
There's just a fierce rivalry up and down the I-5 corridor.
Start to look at the personalities involved as far as who are the villains and who are the heroes. That gives the rivalry even more intensity.
I just don't like Clint Dempsey.
Dempsey has been given a red card as well, has he?
Chara, always competing and fighting and getting little kicks in.
Ozzie Alonso was more a villain for me.
Will Johnson, just the way he played, it seemed dirty.
Roger Levesque.
Roger Levesque's gotta be Roger Levesque.
Yeah, Roger Levesque.
Going back to the goals he scored here, but particularly that 2009 US Open Cup game where he scores 48 seconds in.
He made a great run into the near post, beat the goalkeeper, and Nate Jakwa comes and he chops him down in Timbers Stadium.
One of my fondest moments.
It's the most iconic image for Seattle Sounders fans, and it was on their pitch. So that's what made it even sweeter.
The Roger Levesque celebration, I think that's something I won't speak about.
But after that, interestingly, it's not players. Caleb Porter, the coach that whines constantly with the most punchable face in the history of the MLS.
I think it really annoyed us that he's the coach that got him the MLS Cup.
And I think there was a lot of jealousy from Sounders fans that it was like, in some ways, for all that we've done, they have the one thing that we've always wanted.
It's a good stat to have won a championship before them.
And Diego Valeri is handed
gift!
I wanted them to fail big time.
Still the only club in Cascadia to win MLS Cup where we actually scored a goal during the run of play. Had a shot on goal even.
It's a first for the Timbers! A first for the Pacific Northwest! The Portland Timbers win MLS Cup 2015!
It's sad that it's going to be so many years before they'll realize that again.
Obviously, we won the MLS Cup first, so that's something that we will always hang our hat on, and we were surprised when Seattle followed.
When the Timbers won the year before, they had something they could hold over us.
It gave us motivation. I didn't want to be sidelined, hoping for the opponent to prevent our rivals from lifting a trophy.
Now the cross out to Nor! What a save by Fry!
The footwork, the save, the moment, everything.
I think they showed the save behind me on the big screen, and the whole stadium did a little, ugh. So I figured I did something right.
Against Stephen Fry. Off the bar! And Seattle now a kick away from winning it. Seattle Sounders have done it. MLS Cup winners in 2016.
Was I rooting for them versus Toronto in 2016? No, I wasn't. But it was a tough game to watch, to be honest.
We don't want them to succeed in what they're doing. They are not supposed to win.
It felt great to take it away from them, and then obviously for us to lift our first one.
For us now, it's time to try and win another one and hold that over them.
Clint said it best in the trophy celebration.
All I gotta say is now that we won one, Portland can't say shit.
My favorite moments probably are the ones that we eliminated them in playoff.
A win for your team is always going to be a really special thing. A win against the team that you absolutely hate, it's just like 1,000 times better.
2018 playoff series with Seattle, it's something that I'd be surprised if they answered this question.
Yeah, 2018 playoffs.
Blanco! He's done it! Sebastian Blanco for Portland!
The second leg of the 2018 series might be the best playoff game I've seen in Major League Soccer since 2011.
It is not by accident that this team had Roger Levesque lead the players out.
Every Timbers win against Seattle is a favorite memory, but for me it was probably the Blanco goal.
It was special. I can feel the silence in all the stadium.
It just was unrelenting.
We deserve to win, but Portland is a very sneaky team.
Some of the Portland players think they've won. They're celebrating right now.
Look at Valentine tell Blanco, no. We go to a shootout.
When you eliminate your rival in his house, it's priceless.
I was a little sore after that game.
It could not be a more perfect night here in the Pacific Northwest.
There's always the next game against Seattle.
He's going to shoot it off the bar. Fernandez scores on the rebound. You can see a Kimke, he knocked it away. Valerio and Blanco are both wide open. Torres being held back. Oh, here we go. As nasty and ill-tempered as you would have hoped.
I'm not sure if you can overhype this rivalry. The passion you see from the fans on both sides is incredible.
You see the fight that the players give in every single game, but like it feels like when they play Seattle, they're warriors.
You think that normal games are loud and rowdy? It's a whole nother level.
When people talk about MLS, Seattle-Portland rivalry is always mentioned.
It's gone through some transformations, but the root of it is, it's still city against city, club against club. That will always be there.
To me, the rivalry is most fun when both teams are really good and you're competing in the playoffs, and hopefully that's a level we can sustain and have many more great playoff games in Seattle and where we continue to beat them.
You enjoy the highs and you hate the lows, and hopefully we have more highs than lows.
I think the next game against Seattle is always going to be the biggest.